Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network, and we are bringing you this midweek boost of motivation, education, and inspiration so that you stay inspired and excited about your life. Today, I have the privilege of introducing you to one of our members, Jewana White, and we're going to be talking today about how you can vibe up. And we just love vibing up, don't we? So I'll bring Jewana on in just a moment. And before I do, let me share some announcements in the wonderful wow world of Women's Prosperity Network. So first of all, we do next week on Tuesday have our Networking with a Twist, which the twist is not only are you connecting with people, you actually get to develop and foster relationships. And we all know that building relationships is what actually brings about results in your business and in your life. So join us for Networking with a Twist. And then the fourth Saturday of the month, we have our monthly mastermind experience that we've been hosting and bringing you this signature formula for 15 years. And it's called Brilliance, Brainstorming, and Breakthroughs. So be sure to go to our website, womensprosperityNetwork.com, go to the events calendar, and you'll see all the wonderful ways that we bring you together to have wow experiences. And this is another one. So today I get to introduce you to Jewana White. And let me tell you a little bit about her. Jewana is a medical intuitive creating awareness and connection, mind, body, and spirit. She is known as the midlife resuscitator. And boy, haven't we all been through the, well, not all of us, but I know I did go through that phase where I needed new life breathed into me. She uses a unique system of CPR, which is not what you would think. Instead, it is connecting, processing, and releasing to begin your journey back to the life you were created to live. She began this journey with body connection by becoming a phlebotomist and a nursing assistant at 19 years old. And then her path took a detour at age 21 when she started working for the Long Island Railroad. During her 23 years of service, she acquired a bachelor's degree in biblical studies, an associate degree in massage therapy, and is currently acquiring her master's in Chinese medicine with a focus on acupuncture. She is a Reiki master, a trained clairvoyant, and holistic coach. As a single mother of two young men, Jewana knows how to juggle her time and energy to achieve exceptional results. She is the founder of You Factor Wellness, where the journey within begins. And she works with women who are ready to harness the power within to transcend their current existence into a more empowered reality. And that's what we're here to do today, to talk about vibing up by connecting to the power of who you are. Welcome, my dear friend, Jewana.
Hello, it's so great to be here. That sounds excellent. I love that intro.
We're going to have a great time. And yeah, I don't know about you, Jewana, but for me, sometimes I feel how lucky I am that I get to share things like this and have conversations about vibing up. Because while we're absolutely delivering huge value to our guests today, I receive value every single time I'm in your presence. So thank you.
Thank you. You are so awesome. And it's an exchange of energy. So that's the beautiful part of it.
Yes.
It's definitely an exchange.
Yes. So you absolutely have a robust and diverse background, first starting off in the medical world, then working at the Long Island Railroad, where I would imagine you had an amazing opportunity to study human behavior.
To say the least.
And then, biblical studies, and now Chinese medicine, massage therapy, like what a variety that you've been through in your life. Tell me a little bit before we dive into vibing up, because I know that's the core of happiness, of finding joy and connecting to who you are. How did that happen for you? I have an image of you working at the Long Island Railroad, which I used to take all the time. And I don't know that I would have thought of the woman behind the ticket booth as somebody who was into spirituality and connected, all of that. So how did this journey happen for you?
Well, just that, working the job, it wasn't me. It wasn't who I felt, who I was. I took the job because it was security. My mom was a conductor, and I knew it would take care of my family. I was a new mother. No, I wasn't even a mother yet, but I knew I was in school for nursing actually at the time. And when the job came up, my mom said, you know, this will be a great path for you. And I took it. But during that time, I wasn't happy. There was a part of me that was suppressed. And it began to show itself over the years with anger, with just different emotions that, again, weren't me either. It wasn't my core being. So I would feel it. I would feel it in my body. It turned out to be like pain. And that's what sent me on all these different paths were, how do I get rid of the pain? Let me do what I'm told to do. Go to church and learn God. God is who you are, you know, and then I said, okay. And then as I took that path, I felt like I wasn't in tune with me. There were things that I didn't maybe agree with, or maybe I just felt I didn't feel as worthy as I thought I should be. That my worthiness wasn't there. As much as I studied, as much as and my body was still aching. My marriage was breaking and my finances was terrible. So I'm doing what I was told to do, which was serve God and get a good job and get married and have kids. And I did it all. And there was still a void, just like a huge void in me. And that's when I decided, Jewana, you actually factor in all of this.
You factor. That's why we do you factor.
Right.
As I'm listening, thinking about the times in my life when I went through periods of, feeling angry or cranky or body aches or, diseases and headaches and, feeling bloated and over, like all of those outward expressions and physical manifestations. When I look back now, I can see that those things occurred at times of my life where I didn't feel connected to who I was.
Right.
And, I suspect there could be somebody listening in right now who you may be having some of these physical things going on in your life, or emotional matters, or the finances aren't where you want them to be. And typically, we look outside for the solution. But that's not what you're suggesting, correct?
Exactly.
Let's jump into that piece.
and that's the part, is taking ownership for where I was at that time. And so me vibing up was actually me choosing me. And when you decide to choose you is when you decide, I'm worthy for the next level. I'm worthy to be where I see I should. I'm worthy to be happy. I'm worthy to have abundance. I'm worthy for a great relationship. I am worthy of all of that. So that's vibing up, is knowing that you're worthy. For me, my program was that I wasn't worthy. So reprogramming myself and just constantly, that was the search, that was the path. What is right for me? We all have a path that we are designed to take. And when it feels good, that's when you know you're vibing up. When that path brings light to you and it just ignites you, it makes you feel good. And a lot of times we shy away from that path because we don't feel we're worthy. So Vibing up is choosing you, is truly deciding that I'm worthy of every step of this. And that was leaving my job and finding my passion. That was questioning my marriage and leaving my marriage and looking for happiness because I was worthy. So that's where vibe up came from. Because sometimes vibing up, we don't honor ourselves. And until you honor yourself, can you truly vibe up?
Begins with all of that. But I gotta say though, like that had to be so scary.
Oh yeah.
Behind the security of the job, of the and the family dynamics, and I'm just guessing there may have been some people in your life that told you you're crazy.
And again,
maybe it was just that.
It has become, I don't want to say a lonely path, because I find and I attract, like I come to Women's Prosperity Network to get the energy that I need to keep moving forward. And you learn that sometimes, you know, the people around you, that's again a part of vibing up. You have to realize what the energy around you is doing to you. Because if somebody's telling you that what you're doing or your beliefs shifting is not good for them, are they really helpful for you? And yeah, it becomes very scary when, you know, everything your mother taught you, you now kind of breaking away from that. And now your relationship with your mom, the closest person to me, which really I'm grateful didn't change. My mom is wonderful with the new person that I'm evolving to. And
I would venture to guess, because it's also the beautiful child she held in her arms.
But some other people have not loved this new person or don't know how to handle the new person, the new me. Yeah. And yeah, that becomes scary because it's, you know, like you said, the security of my marriage, the security of my job, 23 years, 20 years married. It was very scary, and it's still scary. I can't say it's not, but surrounding myself with people with like minds, with the energy that's pushing forward. And like I get to watch these wonderful ladies like Rita, and just we're all building together and seeing that, putting myself in situations like that, keeps me vibing up.
I love it. All right. Well, I know that you have some recommendations and suggestions so that we can all vibe up. And I also want to let everyone out there know that if you are in a place at crossroads, right? Like we get these opportunities to make different choices in our lives that are not easy. Like as I'm hearing you talk about some of the choices you've made, they weren't easy. The outcomes were uncertain. Know that Jewana is here to help guide you through the process so it doesn't have to be as scary, as lonely, as challenging. And paying attention to what you're feeling is the path. So we'll let you know how you can get in touch with Jewana to continue working with her. But now let's vibe up.
So I always say to start vibing up, you got to get to the core of it. So the core of it is be clear, clarity. What makes you happy? And be clear on that, because sometimes we're so willing to do what other people need us to do to make them happy, and we don't make ourselves happy. So knowing what makes you happy, and is it just being in a relationship, or is it being in a happy, loving, caring, nurturing relationship? Clarity. And then be open to receive, because I had to be open-minded to the fact that I was taught that divorce is the worst thing you could ever do. And to go through that transition, that pivot in my life, that the worst thing I could ever do for me is stay here. Owning that and being open to the greatness that can be on the other side of that. So being open-minded to that. Receive. Sometimes we block so much by not receiving. And it could be something as simple as a kind word, or, people will be willing to give you. And I always say, the only how we could be blessed is from someone else. It's some are waiting for God to come down and do something personal, but it's through someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Receive. Don't say I'm okay when you're not. If you need that help.
Yeah, but our society, this has been a big one for me, to be learning to receive and to say I'm not okay, because then I look weak, and like all of the societal angst that comes with admitting essentially that you're human, right?
Right.
So, and start small in this receiving piece. That's really good.
Yeah, because I look back, and it's that part of not blaming, taking ownership. And a lot of times my ex-husband would want to do things for me, and because of my thought process of our money, or, oh, you don't have to, don't worry about it, I wasn't open to receiving. Mm-hmm. And it blocked the other person as well from that energy and we go into all of that with so much other stuff, the energy of it, because the energy of not receiving what we're doing to ourselves. And then the last thing was the E was expect. Always expect good. When your expectations are, oh, that can't happen for me. Oh, I'm late. This is a big one for me. And I had to reprogramming. I would look at the time and always go, oh, I'm late. And as I start to be conscious of my thoughts, that leads to my actions, that leads to what happens and develops in my life. I would say I'm right on time, and I'm always where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there.
Ooh,
And I never forget the first time I started reprogramming that, and I was on my way to school, and the clock said I was late. But I kept saying that all the way to school. And when I got there, my instructor was late, and I was right on time.
That was good. And I'm always
and I'm not saying this as this is decades in working, me vibing up when life is throwing the balls and the gut punches, I call them a few jabs, actually. And I go into that. But when you get a jab, sometimes it's very hard to get back up from. But being able, one, to clear the energy, know where it's coming from, get down to the core of it, you becoming, because sometimes the jab, and not sometimes, the jabs are there to bring you more clarity. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
So being able to be clear, and then be open-minded about it, and then being able to receive the next step, even though it doesn't look like what you thought it should be, and expect the good from it, and keep saying that very part. And that's how you get to the core of vibing up.
Mm-hmm. So
now I go into your vibe.
let me recap. You did a good job. I want to make sure everybody collects that. So to begin vibing up, we've got to get to the core. You got to have clarity on what you do want, be open to receiving, which comes next, and then set an expectation that things are always working out for you. And that last piece, they're all important. That last piece creates the biggest shift I found when I set my expectation of something good to happen. When I set my expectation of, this is working out for me, even though the clock says I'm late, somehow I know this is really working out and I'm right on time. And you don't have to know the answer. So it steps into having faith on these fundamental beliefs, right?
And that's it. It's the faith. And I'm an acronym woman. the railroad. I had to learn so much schooling. I learned. And I always say you have to be your own BFF. And your BFF is believe in you, forgive you, and have faith in you. So everything you're doing is being your BFF. I believe and expect nothing but good. I forgive myself because I have to give myself, I forgive myself and give myself grace to my next level. And I have faith that I can go to the next level and be who I need to be. So always be your BFF in all that you do, because it's all about believing in you. You factor.
And as I'm listening today, and I'm sure others are feeling this as well, wouldn't you just love to have Jewana whispering into your ear to remind you? Because we all go through these periods of doubt, and there's talk about imposter syndrome, and combined with real physical challenges in our lives and our circumstances and our bodies and our bank accounts. Being able to return to this core is the way through, is the way up, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. You wanted to share something else about vibing, didn't you?
Well, I have a free download about what your vibe actually is. And again, it's an acronym. So I love acronyms, but just download the free. And these are the things that I work on every day to increase my vibe. And just being able to work on those 4 things and just being mindful of them, aware, conscious, though, just being, it shifts the energy so much in your life.
Beautiful. I am putting the link in the chat and also on Facebook so everyone can grab this, because I know, like you just said, this isn't a one-time thing. This is an everyday thing. Every moment sometimes, right?
It's a practice. You have to practice.
Beautiful. So for those listening in on the phone, I want you to go to vibeuport.com/choose you, the letter U. So it's VIBEUPORT.com/choose you, the letter U, all lowercase. So go to vibeuport.com/choose you. Awesome. So I want to share a little bit about you and I have been working together for a couple of years now, and I know that you are also on a mission to help people resolve the physical ailments they're experiencing in a new way, which is why you're on the path with massage therapy and Reiki and Chinese medicine. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, what I experienced was going, like you said, when you're going through emotional pivots in your life and things like that, it really stops the energy, and it becomes like a stuck energy, and stuck energy comes out. And how does it show itself? Is through our bodies and through ailments. And me having stuck energy, I mean, and we don't look at it as stuck energy, but if you've had a surgery, I've had 2 knee surgeries, I've had herniated disc, I've had lumbar cervical, I've had torn shoulders, and this is when I went on the path of self-awareness, it was for my body. It was the fluctuation in weight, and I knew that wasn't for me. I had to start choosing me. It wasn't, Jewana, your weight matters. Jewana, this pain that you're waking up in, it matters. So dealing with that stuck energy is what's now took me on the path of massage therapy and then Reiki, and being able just to move the energy. So sometimes we don't realize the energy blocks that we have. And I would love to tell a funny story. I remember I was getting acupuncture, and I was in massage school at the time. And the instructor came in, because it was the school, so it was the clinic with the interns, and the instructor came in and noticed I had a C-section, the cut going across. And he goes, "Do you get orgasm?" And I go, I was so embarrassed. I go, "I don't know." He goes, "Once you cut there, energy block, no more orgasm." And I go, he goes, "Unblock the energy." So he's telling the girl now to start needling me there. And I got to tell you, after about 4 or 5 treatments, I noticed the difference.
I've got a lot better.
But I wasn't aware of the energy blocks that those things cause. And that's what I love diving into, is those energy blocks. Sometimes our chakras get blocked and we don't even know it. And that's from our emotional energy blocks. So those few jabs I was talking about, fear, worry, jealousy, anger, like those are emotional jabs that block energy in us. And being able to clear those, and I do those with chakra clearings, being able to clear those energy portals and moving. And then it's all energy, moving the stuck energy. And that's where it all became for me, moving my stuck energy. And now I love helping people, because once you get free and allow your energy to flow, that's when your whole life begins to open up for you.
Did you all hear that? Once you get free and allow your energy to flow, that's when life really opens up, being in that flow. And so what I'm hearing is really an invitation for anyone here who's listening in. If you're having an emotional issue, a physical issue, any kind of ailment, rather than, and you and I have had one-on-one conversations around this, like, I know I get a headache, the first thing I want to do is reach for the ibuprofen.
Right. And that's the part that I desire people to just be in tune with you. And becoming in tune with you is, I have a headache, take a step back. What could have caused this? Getting to the root of it. Oh, maybe I need to eat. Maybe I need to get some rest because I didn't sleep well last night. Maybe it's so many other possibilities that doesn't require a medication, that puts your body in a different form of balance. It's taking it out of its natural form of balance. So I like to educate people that when we're balanced. Yin and yang it's a balance. And we balance ourselves. And every time we use a medication or something that is not natural, we throw ourselves in a different state of balance. So bringing you back to balance is being aware. Oh, okay, maybe I need to lay down for a minute. And a big thing right now is your sinuses. So many people are dealing with sinus issues here in New York, where I'm at.
Here in Florida too.
And it's really the time of year. I could go into like the solstice and what's happening on Earth, but with your body, we go out of balance when that happens. So bringing it back to balance, because of the dryness, we're under ACs, is now opening up and moisturing. Steaming is great for just bringing you back to balance, for relieving the sinuses and opening up the lungs and bringing yourself back to balance. A little tea tree oil, peppermint, eucalyptus, something to open it up. And you do that every day. We don't need to take, and I was there, Benadryl or all these sinus medications that put us to sleep and drowsy, and we don't even feel ourselves. Steam twice a day, it'll help open that up. And we just add moisture back to the body.
So good. And thank you for bringing and delving into this side of the conversation, because oftentimes using positive thought, affirmations, meditation, like those are all really, really good things to do, but they don't always provide the total solution we're looking for. Right. And that's where working with someone like you to really let's get to the root cause. Let's find more natural ways rather than reaching for the ibuprofen or the Benadryl to find those solutions. And we got to change our habits, right? We got to change our initial response and desire for quick fix too.
Oh yeah. And it's definitely not a quick, and I don't want to sound like I'm there every day. Again, it's a practice where I may have vibed up from not taking a medication, but I still sometimes, go through different with my eating, and like there's levels to it where you may, but it's being conscious of taking that step. Oh, this is what it is. And sometimes that's why I have coaches, because you need people that can, I don't want to say call you out, but to be able to see you. You don't sometimes see you.
No, you don't. I think this quote that says, you can't see the frame when you're in the picture.
That's it.
Yeah. So having trusted mentors, advisors, dear friends that are coming from love to give us the opportunity to, look in the oh, that's what's in the corner that's jabbing me in the side. I couldn't see it.
Exactly.
It really gets to.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Amazing. I'm so grateful for you, my friend. And I want to give everybody the opportunity to chime in, ask some questions. You've got a medical intuitive here. So if there's something going on in your body, in your life, and you would love to tap into Jewana's wisdom and get some guidance on feeling better, on vibing up to that next level, this is your chance. So Jewana, do me a favor. I'm going to go ahead and open up the line so everybody can get in queue to ask some questions. Please share, what is it that they're going to get when they go to vibeuporout.com/choose you. And that's just the letter U. So it's vibeuporout.com/choose you. What do we get when we go there?
So when you go, you'll get your vibe, the 4 VIBE. I want you to download it so you can read it. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. But these are the 4 things that we fine tune. And if you could fine tune them every day to where you want to be, I guarantee you will feel a life change. Just focusing on these 4 things every day. And again, it's a practice. We hear it all the time with programs we do, with coaches, with people. And sometimes we just don't do it. And I'm guilty of it. But I promise you, these 4 things that you download for your vibe, if you just practice them every day, you'll feel a major energy shift in your life. You'll see a major energy shift in your life.
Beautiful. So go to vibeuporout.com/choose you. And let's vibe up together. Like, how fun would it be for us to do? Let's do an experiment. Everybody
Yes.
doing these 4 things a day. That would be great. All right, let's go to, we've got several people here with us today. We'd love to hear from you. If you're on your phone, you can hit *6 and unmute yourself. And if you're on your computer, you can also unmute yourself and raise your hand. We'd love to hear your questions and or insights, starting with Mary Jane Charles.
Morning, Jewana. So good to see you. And you too, Nancy. Jewana, there are so many pieces of what you said. I'm like, oh my God, she's been watching me all along, especially the Long Island Railroad. So anyhow, there were pieces that I was like, yep, and yep. One of them was the time element. So I'm the youngest of 5 from long ago, huge age differences. My sisters were in the 50s and I was a 60s child, just through and through. Different music, different parents, really. I mean, we had the same names, but my parents had gotten that much older. Anyway, the levels of succeeding, they didn't use that word, but you were expected to do thus and so. And I did. I marched the march and I did pretty well. Life changed for me. I went to the West Coast. Everybody was far away, and then life hit me right across the bow. I got in a situation where I had to be on time like a train every day, all day. When that situation came to a close, to this day, I do not wear a watch. I will not.
Wow.
I've never been late. I mean, I get flustered. I write over a book like ×3, but I will be someplace on that dot. So the time element is a huge thing to pull away from, especially and the physical manifestation. I walked around like I'd taken an arrow in the side. My stomach, I think, always hurt. Once I disengaged from that, it all went away. So if someone's feeling sick or has the headache or this or that, and you have to be someplace 2 minutes ago, the hell with it. It's making you sick. And sit on a bench and make friends with the guy walking by and feed his pigeons. No one will know, but you'll feel better. So I could go on, but I'll leave you with that. Forget the timing. Don't look at clocks. Don't listen to the news by early or late. It ruins your day and it ruins your sleep. So forget the news. And I'll be quiet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jane. It is so amazing because the deprogramming that I'm still doing with time, 4 minutes and 59 seconds, you are late. And I am so huge on time, Mary Jane Charles, because that was my programming for 23 years. And you're right. When we don't give ourselves that grace and be open and get to the core of it, it begins to show as a physical ailment in the body. And it is definitely a deprogramming situation.
Yes.
Yes. Right. Sometimes it's more important to unlearn things than to learn things, right? I love that deprogramming. Good. Mary Jane, thank you so much for sharing and being with us today and most Wednesdays.
Yes, I like this show.
I'm so glad. We'll keep doing it. All right. Thank you again. All right. Love to hear from some of our other listeners today. So raise your hand, or if you're on your phone, you can just go ahead and speak up. I see a couple of people here. Olivia, did you want to?
Good morning.
Oh, who's that? 914. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Stacy Clark, known as the Maximizer. Good morning.
Missed you.
Yeah, glad to be here. So I'm here in New York, as is Are-Jewana. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, beautifully.
Awesome. So I just wanted to share, it was very interesting. I love the story about the doctor who asked when he saw the cut about the orgasms, because it's very interesting. We don't really all realize how connected everything in our beautiful, wonderfully made bodies are, how one thing absolutely connects and affects the other. And I think that this concept of taking the time to focus on ourselves and on doing the things that will allow us to settle and ground and really anchor ourselves so that our full selves can connect with each other, and then do the things to sort of, refresh that and shake that up and bring us back to a place of being whole, so our body can do what God made it to do, because that's the bottom line. It can do anything and everything, especially heal ourselves, clear ourselves, and support us, living healthy, vibrant lives, if we allow it to, if we get all the things out of the way that are blocking. So just interesting, because I use the word ground, just that alone, the idea of grounding, I don't know if that's something people know about, but just the idea of allowing our body to stop the interference of, the electrical, because our body is an electrical system. So standing outside, connecting with the earth and allowing our body to settle, it's just one small thing we can do in alignment with all the other things that Joanna talked about today. And I just wanted to share my own experience, is that I see how these things work together. And when I allow them to happen, making sure that I'm getting access to water and all the different things, you can see very quickly the difference it makes in who you are and how you show up and how you could serve in what you're called serving. So thank you so much for illuminating that for us today, Joanna.
Thank you, Stacy.
Beautiful. So good. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being with us today.
Yes.
It's wonderful to hear your voice, my friend. Awesome.
Good
All right.
morning, Nancy.
Hi, who's that?
Nancy, you will not believe who this is. It's been years, but I think of you and talk about you and your sisters all the time. It's Pauline Burrell.
Wow. Nice.
B as in billionaire. Pauline B as in billionaire. Not necessarily $1 billion, but 1 billion contacts. Wouldn't that be amazing for all of us?
You did the penguin thing, right?
Yes. Well, I still have red
Okay.
carpet transformation. And my logo is a penguin with a tuxedo and a red bow tie, which is the website's 1877redcarpet.com, so all of you can view what the penguin looks like. I created it back in August 27th, 1997. That's when I incorporated. And when I was first excited to tell everyone about my new company, I heard from someone, hey, did you hear about Lady Diana dying? Because she died 4 days after I started my company. So I realized at that moment, nobody wants to hear about me. Forgive me, I'm very, my voice is very hoarse. But from there, I also have Red Penguins Global, which is a concierge business. For example, if you rent a home, I have to tell, sorry, I didn't want to say something. By the way, you will get that video of that testimony, because I totally manifested after going to your event over 13 years ago where I live. And you know it, you wanted a testimony. I said, I can't do it now because it was a irrevocable trust. And until my father died, June 10th of 2 years ago, it is officially mine. Thank you, Nancy Matthews,
honey,
and Susan Weiner. You all are amazing. And wait till you see what's coming to all of us and everyone. And this woman, I was not supposed to be on this call because I was supposed to be celebrating one of my newest partners' 32nd birthday today. And believe it or not, I met him the Friday before Father's Day, and his birthday is today, 8/9. And Bruce R. Burrell, and please put the R. Do not Google my father without the R, because that's a man from Australia that murdered a woman. But Bruce R. Burrell was originally from New Zealand. He was my dad since I was 4. He was my stepfather, but he was my dad. I will only speak of my biological father, who's Joseph Granofsky. Yes, I was born a Jewish name, but unless your mother's Jewish, you're not officially Jewish.
Pauline,
and
Pauline, we have to catch up. We have to
tell you
catch up another time.
No, I have to tell this woman something. Let me tell you, your message is so perfect. You know why? I discovered years ago as a professional chauffeur, it's not always what you think is your time. It's for others. For example, I had a gentleman. I was very early to pick him up. He was very late. We got in the car when we were on US 1 coming from Miami to Fort Lauderdale. His flight was out of Fort Lauderdale. He was livid because he saw right before getting on the highway right near Vizcaya and the old Museum of Science, the highway was stopped. They were landing at a helicopter because it was a major accident.
I said,
you realize if we left the time that we were supposed to leave, you might have been part of that accident. Did you catch that, folks? Now,
Pauline, I want to make sure I give time for other people to share today. So please.
I understand, but I want to share one more quick thing. What she was talking about, time, it's not our time. It's God's time. God has a time for each of us. I witnessed a man hit on a bicycle, and I was supposed to be there 1 or 2 o'clock. This happened when I was running, quote unquote, late, but I wasn't late because I was in time for this man. I witnessed him hit. I witnessed the car leave. I chased the car. I got the driver's license. I got to go. I know. I love you all. There's more to come because the new company is called Rainbow Penguins Global. And I don't know if I sent it to you yet, but more to come. Love you. This one.
I'm glad you were here.
Your moment is perfect.
Many
You're
blessings.
perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome. She had lots to share today, and it's been a long time. I'm glad this was valuable for you. So glad that you were here. And Joanna, I think this is an instance, as we're hearing some of the stories and what, Stacy shared and Paulina shared, it's really about choosing us, setting those intentions and having those expectations of good things to happen. Because we could look at something not going well, right? We could look at that and get all lamenting into it. And now we're creating more of that.
Exactly.
So that I love that you shared that this morning. And part of getting to the core is to really, set those expectations.
Exactly, because you nailed it. And I don't even know if I mentioned that, is because when our expectations aren't of good or the most positive outcome, now we start reproducing what those expectations are. So why not choose good expectations? Because that's what we're actually reproducing in our lives. So when our expectation is, oh, that's not for me, or we keep reproducing more of that very thing.
Yeah. We have a question in the chat related to your signature solution that you guide people to that I referenced earlier, CPR. Can you expand on what that is and how you work with people to get to as the midlife resuscitator?
So for me, it was coming back to life. How do I bring myself back to life? And when I say back to life, because I felt like I was dead after my marriage ended, or when I decided to end my marriage. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. And it felt like I needed to be resuscitated every day just to get up and go to work. It was just hard. And I really had to connect to who I was. Again, just, okay, you're a good person, you mean well, because making that decision, I was letting a lot of people down, and that's how I felt. So connecting to the core of who I was, processing it, that I'm not a bad person because I get a divorce, being able to process who you are, because sometimes we're afraid to connect to that person. And being able to process that I'm not the person I was told I am. I'm not the person I've been being all this time. Learning the different roles and images are not who you are to your core.
And let me jump in here because you just triggered something. And so connecting to the person who doesn't want to have this job, who doesn't want to, be in a marriage that isn't satisfying. The reason I know for me, I shied away from doing that was because my perception was a person like that is selfish.
Right. And that's where I go back to you. Factor, like you actually factor in all of this. I'm not selfish because I want to be happy. I'm not selfish.
Well, that's a golden nugget. I'm not selfish because I want to be happy. That's really good.
But, it's that self-talk that I had to, and being able to process that. I am not selfish because I want to be happy. So being able to process it and then releasing that doesn't serve me. So me doing for others and not choosing my happiness no longer served me. So I had to release that version of me. I had to release that part that I thought it was okay to do that. And that's a process. That's not something that just happens. So coming back to life, CPR, it takes time to connect to that person. It takes time to process who this new person is. And it takes time to release the old you. So that CPR is bringing you back, is connecting you, helping you process, and guiding you through your releasing to come back to life.
Beautiful.
Oh my goodness, Nancy, can I share really quickly? This is Olivia. This is so good. When I had been going through just what you just talking about, Jewana, because I was at a place where, people thought, oh, well, she's nice. And it's good when you're nice. They expect you that it's spiritual. When you're spiritual, you're going to be nice and that you're going to do for them. Then they have this idea that just because you're nice, that you're going to do for them. And I ended up finding this great quote that said, forget the notion that to be nice is to be spiritual. And that sometimes you just have to put an individual in their place. And the language is a little bit more colorful. But it talks about respecting your boundaries is spiritual, not being taken advantage of is spiritual, and being allowing yourself to feel anger is spiritual. And I think that is also tied into your vibe. When you're on this high energy vibe, then you begin to attract a whole different level of clients, a whole different level of relationships and friendships, because you're now on this energy level that is just higher. And you become that better version of you. And it is, you were just talking about, it is challenging to be able to release the old, because I had found that, there was the individuals who they keep you in that version of your old self. And sometimes they reach out and it's like a reflex. So you just automatically just respond. But once you are able to really break through to that new level of vibration, you really do. And then your language is different. What you're talking about is different, and who you surround yourself with is different. Who you surround yourself with is just different. So it's
And
thank you.
And that's where, like, the website is vibe up or out, because what ends up happening is those things that are not vibing up with you eventually vibe out. They're just not there anymore, whether it's habits, friends, but as long as your focus is vibing up, those things that no longer serve you must vibe out. And the only how that happens is by choosing you.
Yes, and yes. Yes,
Hey,
Jewana,
Nancy.
thank you.
Hi, Nancy, it's Simone.
Hey, hi,
Hello.
Simone.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to end that conversation.
Let me wrap that up. Olivia, thank you for sharing. And we've all been through this. And if you haven't been through it yet, that releasing of vibing up, perhaps it's time. Like, what are we tolerating? We gotta look at those things, right? So thank you, Olivia. Simone, yes, welcome.
Hi, everybody. I'm having trouble articulating all the emotions that are coming up in me as I watch the beautiful Jewana. I haven't been on Wow in a long time, and I saw the message come through last night and shared with a friend, hey, I think tomorrow's going to be really good. I'm going to try. So I have my boss trying to reach me right now. I just want to say one thing before. I love it. I love so many things. You just said we either vibe up or we vibe out, and you talked about releasing things. I think of it as rewriting things. I feel like we tell ourselves stories. I think you called it, I can't remember what you called it. You said we've been programmed. That's what you said. We've been programmed to expect certain things. And I think of it as stories that we tell ourselves. You heard that there was something wrong with you because you didn't want to be in that relationship anymore in that way. I just feel like we're always writing new chapters of our stories, and those stories change as we change, and everything changes. People call us selfish. I am selfish. It is not a bad word because I take care of me first. I don't allow their definition to dictate how I feel about me anymore. And I really appreciate the way that you express. I ended a 20-year marriage as well. Only I didn't end it, he ended it. And it's the best thing he's ever done for me. And I couldn't be this person if not for all of that adversity. So I'll say this and then I will go. The most beautiful, the most exquisite rose starts off as a seed in the dark and the dung and the nasty, and it has to grow into the light, to go up or out, the way that you talk about it, and become. And that rose becomes, we get to smell it, we get to see it, we get to use all of our senses to just enjoy it, and then it goes away. it falls to the ground, it fertilizes yet another rose. And we're always becoming, we're always growing, we're never the same. And if we're not having moments where growth is difficult, we're not moving, we're not living. And I just appreciate your story. I appreciate your melanin. I appreciate Nancy's ability to connect the right people at the right moment and the way that the universe just puts things together. And I just wanted to say thank you. Have a wonderful day, both of you.
You too. Love you, my friend. Thank you for contributing and being with us today. Oh, beautiful. I got little goosey bumps just and in the chat, JD is saying this is a fantastic wow and speaks to so many of us amazing women. Yes, it's time for us to choose you. I choose me today. What do you choose? Choose you. Right? vibeuportout.com/choose you, just the letter U. Let's do this together. Let's vibe up continuously. Jewana, thank you. Thank you for sharing your heart, your experiences and your wisdom to support us all in vibing up. Any final words you want to share with our audience today?
I thank everyone for being here. And I just want to know that we all have a choice to vibe up. So why not choose you and continue to vibe up every day? It's your right to be happy, healthy, and wealthy.
Yes, yes, yes. And with that, get out there, my friends. Let's vibe up, make it a wow day, and we'll see you again next week. Until then, go out there and be the one to choose you. Bye, everyone. Bye, Jewana.
Bye.
You all are the best.